welcome to the Series 11 panel discussion, and today's episode is It Takes You Away by Ed Heim. And today I have with
I got it right.
George,
Hello.
Jack,
Hello.
and Sin.
Hey, I'm back. Well, you mean Charlie?
Well, Charlie. You can be Charlie or Sin. I mean, it depends what you want to be.
Well, I mean, up till now, on my current appearances, it's been Charlie, so we'll keep some continuity.
Well, just sometimes I
That's
dox people accidentally, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh, well.
George has a channel called Ace Creeper, which you can check out below, although I imagine most people who follow me probably already know of George, so, you two got anything you want to plug before we move on?
Nope.
Pornhub.com.
Lovely.
Alright, so, It Takes You Away. We're going to talk about this now. Well, first we're going to talk
Yes,
about
it does.
Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. So, do you want to start, George, about Jodie Whittaker in this episode?
Yeah, I can do. I thought she was generally enjoyable. I feel like she's slowly improving throughout the series. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is sort of that we're seeing more of like her strengths and weaknesses of sorts, and I quite like that. Still no big, massive, Doctor speech, but I think because, we've had a good few years of Moffat that we're kind of falling used to that. So it's nice to have a bit of a change up where it is kind of more a team vibe. So it's kind of hard to separate the idea of it. She still is in control and she still is, the one dictating the whole thing. I thought she was excellent in terms of acting towards Graham when she was telling Graham flat out that, Grace isn't real. And that sort of thing. That was a great scene because it was, partially and mostly down to Bradley Walsh for how emotional it was, but I like the way she handled that as well. So I think, as the Doctor, she's doing a great job and I've got no problems with her at all.
Well, you're definitely right about the scene with Graham and Grace, because when there's a serious scene for her to do, she's absolutely brilliant, but I have to say, I just, other than the serious scenes, I'm not too sure I'm massively on board with her. I don't know.
I was a bit confused when she started eating soil, to be fair. Yeah.
I just think she comes off as a bit of a generic New Who Doctor, and some of the things she says are a bit annoying. They're trying way too hard to be whimsical. It just comes off as a bit forced. And I don't know.
Hello, fellow kids.
I think I feel I've given her enough time to properly, have a chance now, and I think that's it. She's great when she's serious, and at least that's an improvement on the last couple of Doctors, when I felt when they're serious, they're just a bit limp and a bit pretentious. Whereas she's actually great when she's serious. When she's not, I don't know, I just can't.
Oh, don't do Capaldi like that, come on.
Pardon?
Don't do Capaldi like that, he wasn't limp when he was serious, come on.
All those pretentious speeches, I couldn't take it
That's
seriously.
not his fault, that's
I'm talking about their Doctors in terms of
that's
writing,
Mr. Moffat.
rather than the people.
Okay.
And also, as you were saying that she hasn't really had too many big moments, I don't feel that she's had enough threat given to her this series.
Yeah,
she hasn't been challenged, and that doesn't mean I want some big pretentious speech with universe-saving consequences. Just have
you do. We do.
Where she doesn't look like she's in control, where things are difficult, where people might die. I don't feel we've had that much this far.
I mean, if the rumours heading towards, Daleks appearing in the Christmas special, it might give her a chance to actually have that, definitive moment, where it's kind of. Yeah, well, I reckon it'll be. I reckon the finale will be something else, and we might have a teaser towards the New Year special having the Daleks in it. I wouldn't expect Daleks in episode 10. Just because it's leading down so much to the fact that it's going to be the Stenza again.
Well, the New Year's special is called Resolution, obviously.
Well, there we go. Resolution of the Daleks.
Let's hope so. Oh my god. Resolution of the Daleks.
I was thinking
this
it would
year
actually
I
do
will
that,
lose weight.
I liked the moment in It Takes You Away when she was pretending to write the map on the wall. I thought that was a very good moment.
That was
but on the other hand,
that was
nice. It was a very McCoy
I'm not
story.
Sure if that's in character for the 13th Doctor.
But that's the kind of Doctor we want to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just let it be Cullen. Just switch characterization between
seasons.
seasons.
Is dead, just written on the wall. It's excellent. No,
That was
serious
actually a
moments
good
in this.
episode.
They were really good. Like,
I would actually rewatch that episode in the future.
Yeah.
Willingly.
Well, I rewatched it because I'd had a bit of drink when I first watched it, and I couldn't really remember what happened. So, so I really enjoyed a lot more on rewatch, considering my brain was able to comprehend what was happening. But yeah, no.
I like how
Jodie
it's at that
Whittaker-
point with Whittaker.
Jodie
Before we put the
Whittaker,
Whittaker on,
she's-
you're gonna have a stiff drink.
She's great when she's serious, but
But she hasn't been.
well,
Well,
when she's
I
not,
don't know.
she
It
just
depends on
comes
what
off as a
type
bit
of
generic.
serious you mean. There's serious, and then there's like, who are you? What are you doing on this planet?
Yeah, no, not
And
that
it's like,
kind of serious. Like the kind of
yeah,
trying to, save people's lives. And,
human
when she's-
emotions. She's a very natural kind of actor. She doesn't really. She needs to have something to hold on to, otherwise she's not able to channel it. You know?
Well, exactly, but that's the kind of acting background she has in things like Broadchurch. And I wish they'd played to those strengths a bit more rather than.
No, but Russell T Davies isn't writing it, so they won't.
Well, if you thi-
I read an article the other day.
I think
It
if you
was
think about
an
the
interview
idea
with
of-
Chibnall, and he was saying something. He was like, it was a couple of years ago, and he was like, "Oh, I love not having to be in charge when I write Doctor Who," and I was like, "Oh shit."
I mean, the rumors have been like going around that he's not actually very happy in the top job, and he wants to leave. And I think
Fuck.
You
But
need,
offer-
you need, I mean, you need to remember as well that there were rumours that it was going to start mid-September. There was rumours that the TARDIS was going to have a cat. There's loads of stuff
ignore
like
the rumours.
there's.
I'm
I've just learned from now just to not take anything as fact until it's announced by the BBC or an extremely reliable source with
Well, you should
picture
know, you've
evidence.
been
Like the-
burned
like the
enough
Mirror.
by these rumours.
Sorry?
But oddly, actually, the Mirror's been getting things right an awful lot.
The Mirror
lately.
gets things right. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, but it
the
didn't
Mirror
used
keeps
to.
getting things right.
It used to
No.
talk absolute bollocks every series,
Mm.
whereas
Yeah.
recently, over like the past year or so, it seems to have predicted everything.
Everything.
Especially
managed
the
to get-
missing
It got
episode animations.
Hartnell right. It got the
Shada
Macroterra
right.
animation.
It got Power
Got
of the
Shada. I think it
Daleks.
even got McGann right a couple of
Got
years back.
Bradley Walsh's casting.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
It's funny because they used to get everything wrong. Like they used to put out articles saying that every single missing episode has been found.
Oh, they used to be
but-
like, they were like Matt Smith returning as the Doctor. And it's like, no, he's not.
All right, so we'll move on to the companions now. So, do you want to start, Jack?
I like the companions in this one. I think obviously this was mostly focused on Graham and Ryan again.
As per usual.
I mean, in order to make the stuff in the Mirror universe focus on Graham specifically, they had to separate him from Ryan, which sort of in a
Do you guys
plotting.
have any lines?
Yeah, Yaz had a couple of lines, but she's
Yeah, the
still
thing
in
is
the
that
background.
the thing is that Ed Hyam actually
Just a couple
seems
of
to have
lines.
read Yaz's character bio and wrote her quite well in the story. It's just that he also
Character bio. How does she have a character bio?
didn't care about putting her into the plot.
To have a character bio, you must have a character.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
like,
You just
just
saw
like-
nothing and thought, well, she can just be
He's
in
like-
the background here.
My grandmother is Indian.
I mean, he remembered that
Pakistani.
she was a police officer and had to mention that, but then he realised that in order for the plot to work, he couldn't have her stay behind, even though that makes more sense.
Than Ryan.
So yeah, we've had the one person who's good at engaging with children and the guy who just like frightens the child. Who should we leave behind?
I think you're nitpicking a little bit there.
Well, no,
No. Yaz is an interesting character because she could have been Ros Forrester, but she's not.
I don't understand.
She could have been the strong, tough, female cop. She could have been that character, but she's not. She's like,
just generic young.
I don't even know. I can't
20-year-old
compare her to
from
any
Britain.
previous character because she just doesn't have enough. Like, her entire personality so far has been like cop with Indian grandma.
it's just like she fulfills
True.
It's like,
the generic companion role. She is the one.
and every
who's
now
there
and
to
then there's
ask
little
questions.
lines. I think
Yeah,
my
but
favourite
most
exchange
companions-
so far in this series
Most
has
companions
been,
actually have character, Jack. She literally does not have any development whatsoever.
But with more characters, you can siphon off the character portion of the job entirely onto Graham and Ryan, and leave all of the boring companion
feel like-
just to Yaz.
It's true.
Chibnall should
that
have
is
gone
true.
and watched some Hartnell and like remembered how to write 4 characters because it's just not working.
Yeah, well, how they managed to do it back then was the fact that every story was like 2 hours
No,
long.
but it's not. No, but here's the thing. Watch like An Unearthly Child, for instance. Every character is very well defined by the end of that episode. You know who they all are. You know, like I rewatched it today because I was feeling a bit good writing sick. I rewatched it today, and I was like, "This is great. This is exactly how to do this. I don't understand. It's not difficult."
Well, I
But, you know,
think
whatever.
with An Unearthly Child, you got to remember that the only thing about the plot is finding out what Doctor Who is. You know,
That's true.
every,
a very good
every other
episode.
Doctor
It's
Who
so good.
story has to have a story on top of developing the characters, whereas the only thing this episode had to do was to develop the characters and introduce them. So I think maybe that's a
Unearthly
bit of an
Child's
unfair
fantastic
comparison.
now.
I think the reason
like
they were able to
Kubrick film.
develop the characters, the plots, and the side characters so well back then was because they had more time to do it, and they don't have the time here.
They did have more time. That's right.
So they should
But,
have more time now. It's a simple solution.
Well, no, but see, it's the same amount of time this season that has. It's 10 episodes of 50 minutes. It's about 500 minutes. That's like the equivalent of maybe, let's say 20 episodes of the older show.
I think it's a mixture of
So
not having
that's-
enough time and also none of the writers
That's roughly
caring
the
about
point
Yaz.
up to the end of Marco Polo in season 1, which is perfectly adequate to establish all those characters. So it's like they don't really have the excuse if they don't have
but bear
that
in
much time
mind
because
that
they have
each-
about as much time as.
back then, they didn't have to develop like new side characters and plots every single week. On top of that, they had like
No, that's
stories
true.
that lasted ages. So again, I think that's an unfair comparison.
If anything, back
Yeah.
then they had stories which were slightly overstretched a lot of the time.
No, I don't actually feel that. For
I don't
some
like
of them
I don't
are,
like
but-
that comparison because it's also you're forgetting it's not the binge age. It's 25 minutes a week. You've got to keep it padded, which is why stories like the Space Pirates, which are shithouse now, did very very well on transmission because they were exactly they were written exactly how they were meant to be, which is in a kind of a serialized way. And same with other stories that people find to be too long or they drag too much, like I don't know, The Ambassadors of Death, or like
Well,
something
anyway,
like that.
should we
Yeah,
talk
anyway.
about the companions in this story? So since we already
Yes,
had our
right.
weekly Yaz rant, let's talk about Graham and Ryan.
I wasn't
how
finished with the.
amazing they
I
were
wasn't
in this
finished with my
story.
yes, right?
Yeah.
They were Graham.
I mean, it's all
Graham was
about
good.
Graham, isn't it?
It's all about
Yeah.
Graham. I love Graham.
Always
To be
about
fair,
Graham.
for a story that was all about Graham, he wasn't in it all that much until about the halfway point.
Yeah, but he
So-
was in the best bits.
Well, yeah, but he usually is.
He is the best. He is the
I
best.
don't think
bit
he
of
is
series
the
11.
best. I think he is the best bits.
All
Wouldn't it be
moments where
great
he is on screen
if
are the
next
best
season all the episodes are good and written by real writers?
What?
No, that's a stupid dream. Of course, that would never happen.
Right, yeah.
Well,
so, I thought, no, you can
Ed
go,
Heim
George.
is coming back.
Yeah, I was
next
going to
series.
say Ed Heim has been confirmed for next series.
That's good at least. We got one.
Oh, well, I thought that Graham and Ryan were brilliant in this story, and it was really good for developing these already
Yes, they were.
satisfactorily developed characters even more. I mean,
yes.
how
It's
good
good.
are they
It
going
means
to
they'll
make
get their
these
Big
characters
Finish box
before
sets.
they share the love a bit with Jodie and Yaz?
I think we're in trouble here because you're at this point where it's like the female characters' plot like kind of traits are only really things like nice,
Whimsical.
feminine, and it's like, dude, but you can't say that because there's a certain contingent of people that will leap on you for it, and you're like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not actually saying that I hate all women and they should
It's
have
not
never gotten the
because they're
vote.
female,
What I'm saying.
It's because that's how
I was
they've been
having an
written.
argument. I was arguing with someone on a forum the other day, and I laid out some points as to why I didn't like the way Jodie's Doctor was written. Mainly, she's too passive and she's not active enough in the face of injustice and all this stuff. And that while she was telling people, oh, don't kill, don't use guns, she was being similarly violent at the same time. Instead of going for my arguments, she went, ooh, female doctor, huh? Bet you don't like that. Yeah, all the other male doctors killed, huh? And I was like, that's not what I said. I didn't say anything about killing. And then she was like, yeah, I didn't like the Witchfinders because the women were getting killed. I bet you liked that one, didn't you, huh? Because your doctor's pretty selective how they defend people, huh? And I was like, this has got nothing to do with what I just said.
What a stupid opinion. I mean, I
What the fuck is going on?
It's kind of like how Jody's like, oh, don't use guns, but it's okay to suffocate spiders.
And that's what I said. And so she went, every other doctor's killed. Are women evil if they kill people? And I was like, are you intentionally ignoring everything I just said to try and look like some kind of moral crusader?
I mean, you want to believe these people are trolls, but you know really they do exist.
And I know this girl was French, so maybe it was a language barrier or something, but it was very upsetting because I was like, you could have argued with me properly and like tried to attack what I said, but instead she goes right for my character and ignores everything I said. She's just like, oh, you're an arsehole. You're a sexist.
Nothing to argue about with you.
And I was like, but I didn't say anything remotely related to Jen. And there was a bit where she was like, but I guess you didn't mind that one because your doctor seems very selective in the kind of oppression he fights. And I was like, I don't know where she even got that from because I didn't say anything about the doctor being male. I was very careful to say they, referring to the doctor, because I knew that would be a point that they made, but they still went for it.
And other than in historical episodes, when has the Doctor not fought against an oppressive force?
I said even previous Doctors have done that in historical episodes. Even Hartnell in the Aztecs in the Reign of Terror, and then she was like, speaking of Hartnell, how has Hartnell ever defended people? Oh right, that's it. In the French Terror. Oh, that's right, not at all. And I was like, doesn't he kill a slave master?
Well, that person wasn't a slave there, but they were getting forced labor from these people. Yes.
Yeah.
It was more
it was like, and then he steals from the revolutionaries. He breaks all these people out of prison. He leads Robespierre to his.
Is what I was looking for, but yeah. So not quite slave.
Kind of, yeah. He pretty much triggers the events that lead to Robespierre's death. Like he does all this stuff, and it's like it's just frustrating to watch the Whittaker Doctor walk away from a man while he's getting executed for his religion. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this man dying or surviving. Well, actually, no, it would have changed history because then.
It doesn't because
it might not, because then Thingamabob might not have been born. Yes.
No, because the girl was already gone, so she wouldn't have known either way.
Oh, fair enough. Then yeah. Sure.
Exactly. There is no reason he had to die.
Wait. Actually, no. Counterpoint. What if he'd followed her to Sheffield, and then?
They sit him down. They sit him down. They say, look, she's dead.
Who's dead?
If they told him that she'd already been killed.
Oh, did they tell him that?
No.
Oh.
No, but they could have.
They should have saved him and then told him that she was already dead, so there was no point in going after her.
Ah.
That would have packed way more of an emotional punch. It would have been way cleverer, and it would have made sense.
I can see that. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Right. Fuck, I should be writing this.
Not fully convinced, but I get your point. But anyway, I think we should move on to the side characters now. So, do you want to start, Sin?
Yeah, let's do it. I didn't like the Pearl. No. I thought she was a shit actress.
I mean, no, to be fair, that is how Scandinavian people tend to emote.
She's not Scandinavian, though. I thought she actually was. And I looked it up, and she's not.
Yeah, I thought her accent didn't really sound very Scandinavian.
No, I thought she was. I assumed she was, because she sounded like she was having trouble with the words, and I was like, okay, fair enough. And I looked it up, and she's not, and I was like...
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I wasn't that bothered because she wasn't in it that much.
No, but one big issue I had, and I have, and this sounds terrible, but let me get to the end of my point before I say anything. But I don't think blind people should act on screen. because
I
they're
would
not.
strongly disagree.
No, wait till I finish. Wait till I finish, because there is a reason for this. Okay. A lot of acting is in physical expression, and the ability to show emotion. And the problem that people that don't have sight have is that they can't see that. They don't know what that looks like or what that feels like, or actually how to express that in a controlled way. And so what you have are scenes with blind actors, and I'm not saying ban them all from acting, but you get blind to modulate their voice. They're fantastic radio actors, right? But on film and on television, it doesn't work as well because they don't know how to express emotion in that physical way, so it just doesn't work.
Well,
And so I thought that really let her
I don't think
performance
you can
down.
say that all blind actors are like that, because some people go blind later in life and already know how to do it.
No, of course,
Some can
of course,
learn
of course.
how to do it, even though they can't.
Yes,
So you'd be surprised
yes.
what blind
But
people are capable of.
I wasn't saying they're not allowed. I'm not trying to
Alright.
push them away, but I'm saying what specifically let her performance down was the fact that due to her impairment, she's not able to fully represent
I can
the emotions of a
understand
character.
what you're saying, but I just
Same way as
I
deaf
disagree
actors
with
probably shouldn't do radio.
I just disagree with you saying that they shouldn't act, because if they can do the
No,
job
that was a bit harsh.
just as well.
Didn't mean that.
I don't-
Didn't mean that. Didn't mean they shouldn't act. I was saying.
If
You
you
know
want
what
to talk,
I explained what I meant.
Yeah.
I do have a point that wasn't.
if you want to talk
Yeah.
about a bad performance from a side character in this episode, the character which
The dad.
Grace's actress plays at the end, that voice
Oh, yeah.
performance.
Can I
was
just
frog?
Can I just quickly add
We're
on?
going to talk about the frog.
Oh, we're going to
Can I
talk
add
about the
on-
frog in the plot, I think.
Can I add on just the thing about the blind actress quickly,
Sure.
before we talk about the frog, because there's a lot to talk about the frog. Regarding, I think, because did you see the interview she did on BBC Breakfast?
No, I did not.
Fair enough. I think it was interesting because of the way like it was presented, and I feel like I understand what you're saying in the respect of like sort of how they would struggle to be able to know how to express those. But she's playing a blind character, so surely she'd just be able to act like as herself, but in a different kind of persona. Like the physical expressions would be the same because she knows what it's like to be blind. And I think the idea behind it is more authentic than having someone who isn't blind pretend to be blind. Really, I think that adds that
I didn't have a
element of-
huge problem with that aspect. My
No.
problem was more the fact that she couldn't act anyway.
I think the idea. I think what I wasn't so keen on was the fact. I mean, the characters, the family, I felt were more just padding. Like they didn't actually need to be in the episode.
I
Really,
didn't
felt
like
it
the
was just
ethos
kind
that they seemed to be pushing. Like it was like they were like, "Oh, you left your daughter alone in the house to come and visit your wife, you evil cunt." And I was like,
What about Kevin Eldon as Gollum?
Oh fuck!
I love that character.
not much. It was absolutely gorgeous.
I
have
loved
never
it.
I've never like sat up so quickly in my seat that when he came on screen. Like I was like kind of nodding off and I was like, fuck, it's gonna be one of those episodes again. And then this dude pops on. Suddenly they're in like fucking Neverland. No, what do I mean? The Never-Ending Story. It felt like they're in this like weird like dream world, and this fucking Gollum dude comes out, and he's like, it was fantastic.
He's just one of those beautiful bastards, He just wants to eat the world, and I can respect that. It's a fun character.
It was but it was great. It was actually a cool, engaging concept, and that whole part of the episode felt so much like Doctor Who, and then the frog at the end, obviously, but we'll talk about it later. It was perfect. It was actually Doctor Who. I feel like I watched an episode of Doctor Who this
agree.
week, which I don't think I've felt since like World Enough and Time.
Well, I felt that with
That's a year and
Kablam
a bit.
myself, but no, I do completely agree.
Kablam can fuck off. Kablam sucked.
I love Kablam. But,
Fuck.
But I
Kablam
agree. That
can
was a
fuck
really
off.
good. There was a really good moment when they were walking through the cave. But that's
It was
what really
just- it was
gripped
just
me. in the
beautiful.
episode. It was.
Yeah, this is like the best episode of this season by a mile. There's not even like a comparison.
Not sure. I still prefer Kablam myself. But
How can you like Kablam
It's
being
fun.
you? It's not fun to fucking abuse the working class. Jesus
Sure, it's got a
Christ.
bit of a confused message at the end, but we're not talking about Kablam.
I'm sure Rupert Murdoch gets a bit confused too.
Alright, so we're not talking about Kablam, we're talking about It Takes Two.
Ribbons.
So we're going to move on to the plot
ribbons.
now. So, do you want to start, George?
So what we're talking about now, the plot?
Yeah.
Right, frog.
No. Let's start from the beginning. Save the frog. You got pulled off.
Okay, right.
This episode is just going to be remembered as the one with the frog around now.
I can't contain my excitement. You don't understand. I'm very excited to talk about this frog. I loved like the way the setting of it. I mean, because that could have taken place anywhere. I love the fact that it was somewhere different, and you could see it. I mean, it looks beautiful. You know, in Norway, and that the views and the direction on that point made it look gorgeous. We didn't see much of the interior of the TARDIS. I think that's just down to the fact that it took them about half the time in the series to actually.
The fucking set. It's terrible.
Hopefully, it took. I think it took them about half the series to actually build it. So, that's why it's not in half the episodes.
It took them half the series to build that.
It was. I don't think
it looks like a Lego set.
I don't think it was along those lines, but I think it took a bit longer than usual. Hence why it's just not in some of the episodes.
Well, it looks
cheap
shit.
Gel from China or something.
Yeah, but I think they filmed all the TARDIS scenes last. So
you can tell they all look tired.
But no, I like the idea of it. I spoke in my own review about the fact that I like how it just kept subverting everything. Again, moving away from the frog just a second, but the idea that it goes, okay, it's in a woodland, the father's gone, there's a scary monster out there, but actually this is happening. Oh, look, and then actually this is happening. And I quite like how it just jumped back and forward. It kind of felt like three different stories mixed into one, which it kept it going. And I didn't feel myself getting bored of it.
You know what this feels like? This feels like what if Kate Orman decided to write for the new series?
Yeah, what I liked about it is that it wasn't predictable. It was a really interesting, an interesting concept, and they didn't let on to it straight away.
This would work very well.
Yeah.
As
you didn't
a new
actually know what was
adventure.
going, and you didn't actually know what was going on until about a good, 25 minutes, half an hour into the episode, maybe. I mean, it was a decent amount of time.
Yeah,
actually
there was
just going.
subtlety and well-written dialogue, as opposed to things like, "That's a nice cake, Gran.
Yeah.
I was the first woman to work in a textile mill in South Yorkshire. Okay, cut the cake."
Well, it's sort of got that late classic era feel where they just stopped giving a shit about thematic consistency, and we're just gonna have this element, we're gonna have this element.
It feels like the Mind Robber.
Together.
It felt like the Mind Robber.
Yeah.
A bit. Felt like, I want to rewatch the Mind Robber now.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they just showed a repeat of the Mind Robber instead of doing new episodes, I don't think anybody would complain.
No, people would complain because it's in black and white, and that girl's wearing a bodysuit, but she's not a dancer, so it's sexist. Also, none of the robots are made of 100% renewable.
The robots are actually from
BBC cardboard.
Out of the Unknown, which is another BBC TV program. Yeah.
They are, actually, that's right. No, people would watch The Mind Robber, and people would like it, except for the people that are watching this season, which are the BBC brand Youth TM.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That are the general audience for most of these shit programs that they keep commissioning. It's like the ABC here. Everything, you turn it on, and the news is great. The only good part of the ABC in Australia is the news. Everything else is shit. It's drivel. It's terrible. The message is good, but the production is awful. It's like fucking, you watch these shows and you're like, how are you hired? Who pays you? Are you really a trained professional? Do you specialize in this field, or are you a bum off the street?
Is there anything else that anybody wants to say about the plot, then?
I want to say one thing.
I want to talk about the frog.
I want to talk about the frog. I was just trying to move on from how shit ABC is, apparently.
Because they didn't have that much time to do the plot, and they had so much stuff going on in it, the way, the Doctor just sort of just like randomly realised what was happening. I didn't really like. I mean, it was it was necessary to make it work, but
that was probably one of the lesser parts of the episode. That was one of the bits.
Oh yeah,
that
that
wasn't really
was a bit poor.
Yeah, it's just
that was. Although I did like the fact that looms are now canon. Anyway.
I know a certain somebody who will absolutely be loving that.
Who?
we can't
Jacob. Oh god,
forget.
oh god, oh my god, his W8. I hadn't. It's not W8. Is Amina. Oh shit, his profile photo is the BBC Books version of Lungbarrow.
Yeah.
I hadn't realised that till now. Holy shit. What a week. Lungbarrow sucks. Anyway
So
can we talk about the frog?
It's frog time.
No.
Go on, George, it's frog.
It's frog time. Ribbit.
The flesh bots, though. We can't forget the flesh bots, because they added so much to the episode.
Frog.
Okay, frog.
I don't know. I can see why they did that, because there's elements of it that some of it, like the idea is all right, but the execution just looked a bit weird and felt just completely.
I preferred that.
Was it?
I preferred that.
I think the thing they could have done better lip syncing with classic.
Oh god, man!
Was it CG?
It was like it was.
Who cares?
It was literally Kermit the Frog.
No.
Was it CG
but the
or was
shit
it a
lip
puppet?
syncing made it more surreal. Like, I would rather we had episodes like this every week than episodes like Kablam or The Witchfinders, because at least they're being experimental as opposed to being shit. So
was it a puppet frog or CG frog?
I don't know. I
want it to be a puppet.
It's
They didn't
somehow
mention it.
Every bone in my
Doctor Who
body
was like-
aches for it to be a puppet, but it was CG.
But why does it look like a puppet then?
does look like a puppet.
Because they
It's
didn't
just a
have
very
the
odd
best
design
team.
choice. Like if they were trying to make it look
They
surreal,
stopped
why did they make it
hiring
like
the
a
mill.
rainbow frog or something?
They should have just had the frog like not even open its mouth, just have it like kind of speaking telepathically or something. That would have been weird.
Actually,
But
wait, was it trying to lip sync or was it just riveting while she spoke through its mind?
No, it was really poor lip syncing. You can tell.
Actually, I don't mind that it was poor. That made it better.
I don't know.
Yes,
I mean,
Oh god, that was such a cool scene.
I
I
don't
can't
get
believe
it.
that this was an
I thought it
actual
was
episode we got
pretty
in
cool
this
on the
scene.
second one.
In this season, in this day and age, the year of muddled messages and just shit. It's just been shit.
I think I was just expecting something more, and I think I was a little bit more disappointed because of that. But that's only because early reviews and teasers had built it up to be a big thing. But on reflection, I think that's a little bit better than just pointless fan service. Really, I quite like it, opposed to having. Because at first I was thinking like, they could bring a character back and have it someone who the Doctor knows and that sort of thing. But actually, they don't need to, because they don't need to persuade the Doctor. She's already said she's staying here, and then obviously discovers, oh well, both are going to die. But like the idea, the frog thing, whatever it's called, the Solitrack, doesn't have to convince the Doctor to stay.
My problem.
So it doesn't need to be that, and it would just be pointless fan service at that point. So it's something different, but I think just the idea of a talking frog with Grace's voice, it was weird.
It's quite Douglas.
But I think it's
quite
suited
Douglas
this
Adams.
weird
Yeah,
episode.
very
Well
Douglas.
done, yeah. Which isn't a good thing when it comes to Doctor Who, but this time it was.
Because I get that sometimes this kind of thing was like, ooh, funny random lol, it doesn't work, but I think it worked here just because of how surreal the rest of the
Yeah,
episode
it wasn't funny random. It was more like Dora Maar kind of style surrealism.
Yeah, it was like proper
Sort of
sci-fi surrealism,
very, very, very obscure and kind of out there. What was I going to say about the frog? You know what? No, you know the dream sequence in Set Piece when I think it's the dream sequence in Set Piece when the Doctor meets Time and Death and Pain, or I think it's Kadiatu who pops up there, and they all talk about they're in the garden and they all talk about shit. That's what that's reminded me of.
Fair enough. Right, is there anything more to say
terms
on
of
the
other
plot
bits
before we
Doctor Who.
move on to our final thoughts?
Sharon, what's her name?
Sharon D.
Grace,
Clark.
yeah, Sharon, that's whatever. Grace has changed her hair.
Okay.
She's changed her hair. No. Watch it. Check. It's such a huge change in style that made me want. Like, did they film this before or after the first episode? Because it was so like. I don't know.
Well, you know, Death
I
does
don't know,
kind of change your hairstyle a little bit.
No, it was like half parade, like kind of going down. But anyway, I just noticed.
Got him.
Yeah.
Graham's favorite hairstyle.
Alright, so final thoughts now. So if you'd like to give your final thoughts, give it a score out of 10, starting with Jack.
Yeah, this is definitely my favourite episode of the series so far. I think maybe I would have taken the anti-zone stuff out of it so I could have more time with the weird mirror universe stuff,
No.
but it was generally
You can't.
it was generally very enjoyable. I would definitely give it an 8. This is like the one I would definitely watch again out of all the other episodes.
Sin? Charlie?
Yeah, this was good. I gave Rosa a good rating last time I was on, didn't I? That was probably a lie.
I don't
Sounds
remember,
just-
to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I've probably given 8 so far, haven't I? Yeah. Alright, I'd give this a 9. It was better than those two. Pull those two down to a 6, actually. I'll give this like a 9 or an 8, maybe 8.5, split the difference. It was good. I actually enjoyed this episode, and I thought it was like well written, and people weren't half-arsing it, so that was a welcome change from what has been like Torchwood Season 1 levels of fuck off Chibnall, you know?
George, do you want to go now?
Yeah, I think there's many elements of this that I really, really enjoyed. There were a few bits that I don't think work as well, like on rewatch, but you know, overall, I think it's a genuinely enjoyable episode. I forgot to mention as well, I love the fact that when they went into the mirror universe, that everything was flipped. It just, the idea of filming and like directing everything in kind of like reverse, like opposite, is just it's extra effort for such a small detail that works. And I love that kind of enthusiasm to a show, and I think that really does show in this episode especially. But stuff like the fact that they cut an entire monster out of this episode, and just the gem, I mean the moths, just stuff like that, it kind of dragged me out of it a little bit, and I wasn't keen on it. So I think overall I'm going to drop a 7 out of 10. It was enjoyable.
Really? I
but,
didn't expect you to be the most harsh.
Yeah, I liked it, but you know, it's not my most enjoyable this series, so I think it will be unfair to the ones that I preferred to rate this, much higher. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't mind blowing for me.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It's so nice to have a proper sci-fi concept to really get our teeth into for once. Lots of interesting scenes. I love the bit with the weird gremlin creature that eats everything. I love the idea of the mirror universe, and that was really well explored. It's nice to have a proper self-contained episode that explores an interesting and kind of unique sci-fi concept that subverts your expectations multiple times. Really well written, really well done. It's not perfect, but what is? I loved it. 9 out of 10. Excellent story. Definitely the second best of the series. And maybe if I rewatch a couple of maybe I'll find this is the best one. I don't know. So I really liked it, actually. So this is probably the first time that you've given an episode a lower rating than me, George.
Potentially, yeah. I think it's just based on kind of personal preference.
Yeah,
but
I think,
I
this
think
is an episode that's more to the taste of people who like Classic Who. Like a lot.
potentially.
Well,
I mean,
you
I
know,
like.
good.
I am fond of Classic Who, but I think I know what you mean. Like, I did enjoy it. I just think there were a few elements of it that kind of made me go, I
that
prefer.
makes
I
it
prefer
sound
to
like
watch
this is like a trad story, but it's not. This is
had-
firmly
It
rad.
feels
That was
like
great.
a,
It
it
was a
feels
great
like
story,
an
I
early
think.
90s Doctor Who, a late 90s Doctor Who novel.
Or kind of like, the
Yeah.
I was saying Midnight. I was saying this
Yeah,
feels
Midnight.
like a Kate
The
Orman
good
book from like '96.
the
Yeah.
good Moffat era stories. Stuff
Yeah.
like
I mean, good.
God Complex, Girl Who Waited.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not God Complex, but definitely Girl Who Waited. I do love Girl Who Waited,
Yeah.
and I can kind of see the comparison.
God Complex is good. I mean,
Yeah, it's good,
nothing
but
like yeah.
I don't know if I'd quite
nothing like
compare
this
it.
story, but it was good.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Anyway, so
God Complex has some good imagery, doesn't it?
yeah,
Puppets and that. That was
so
actually
that
quite nice.
was It Takes You Away, which was surprisingly really, really.
Please
really
get the title
good.
right on the thing.
For fuck's sake!
I don't know how you could fuck it
Complaining
up this time.
because- I see we get it wrong every time. Anyway, so I'll see you back next time for the finale, which let's hope that it's going to be a good one because
I
sometimes.
have a theory about
It's
the
a
finale.
Chris Chibnall episode.
there's plenty
Don't
of
get your
I
hopes.
don't know.
Finale.
I mean, finales haven't really been good for a long time. They always seem to mess them up.
It's gonna be on. It's gonna be
They did
on
not mess up
Desolation.
last year.
That's what the planet's gonna be.
Well,
It's
I didn't.
obvious.
Well, I wasn't a fan of the Doctor Falls. It wasn't bad, but
You.
It was better.
Kiss.
Anyway. So,
It was better than the other ones. The other Moffat era
Yeah,
ones.
that's true.
Yes.
That's it for now, and I'll
Yeah.
see you back next time for I've forgotten the name of the next episode. The Battle
called
of
The Battle of
The Battle of the Ku
Battle
Klux
of
Klan or
Atlas.
something.
Bye.
It's a